There's something about caves that sparks a sense of wonder, a place untouched by time, hidden beneath our feet, dark, silent, and ancient. But in those same depths, awe can quickly twist into terror. When things go wrong underground, they go wrong in the worst possible way. Today, we're diving into real stories where cave exploration turned into survival. Some lived to tell the tale, and others didn't. The Flash Flood Trap. Natural Well Cave, 1979. The sun was out, and the team was experienced. There was no reason to expect what was about to happen. Two young men were making their way through the famous Natural Well Cave in Alabama. Everything felt routine until the skies changed and the rain came fast. What they didn't know was that water from a distant thunderstorm was already racing through underground channels. The narrow cave they were in quickly became a funnel for that water, cutting off their exit and pinning them between rising water and solid rock. Outside, the Huntsville Cave Rescue Unit jumped into action. Crews used every trick in the book: ropes, harnesses, communication lines, anything to reach the trapped duo. But they had to work fast. More rain was coming. Every minute counted. Against the odds, they pulled off a successful rescue. The two men made it out, drenched, exhausted, and grateful to be alive. Lost in the maze, Sloan's Valley Cave, 1981, Tony Hughes was just 17. A thrill seeker, sure, but also smart and well-trained. Along with some friends, he was exploring the winding passages of Sloan's Valley Cave in Kentucky, one of those endless, honeycomb-style caves where every tunnel looks like the last. After slipping on a rope and falling behind, Tony took a wrong turn, then another, and suddenly, the sounds of his group vanished. Just like that, he was alone. Hours passed, then more hours. Disoriented and running low on energy, Tony did something remarkable. He kept calm. He retraced his steps and began marking the walls to avoid circles. Just as a rescue team geared up to begin searching, Tony emerged on his own, muddy and shaken, but safe. It could have ended much differently. The Coal Disaster. Buffalo Creek Flood, 1972. Not all cave disasters happen underground. Some start above with human greed and neglect. In Logan County, West Virginia, a massive coal slurry dam built by Pittston Coal Company sat like a ticking time bomb above Buffalo Creek Hollow. And on a rainy February morning, it exploded. A wall of black water, sludge, and debris ripped through the valley at freeway speeds. The flood killed 144 people and destroyed 4,000 homes. Families were torn apart in seconds. Entire communities vanished under mud. Survivors described seeing bodies floating past as they clung to tree branches. What caused it? Warnings were ignored. Regulations were sidestepped, and a tiny stream called Buffalo Creek became the scene of one of the deadliest man-made disasters in U.S. history. It was a chilling reminder that human error and corporate recklessness can be just as dangerous as the deepest cave. 3 students, 1 nightmare. Bone Norman Cave Rescue, 2012. It started as a weekend adventure, just 3 college students from Virginia Tech exploring the Bone Norman cave system. They'd been inside before. They thought they knew the layout. But once they slipped past the familiar sections and into unfamiliar territory, the cave had other plans. Batteries ran low. Food disappeared. Their map became useless. Before long, panic started to settle in. They huddled together in total darkness for 2 nights, 2 full nights. Above ground, their absence was noticed, and rescue crews from the Virginia Tech caving community wasted no time. A team went in and finally found them. Cold, dehydrated, but alive. The moment they emerged into daylight, there were cheers, tears, and a few firm lessons learned about preparation and respect for nature's silence. The Storm Within, Sinks of the Roundstone Cave, 1981. A group of Boy Scouts led by veteran Scoutmaster Jack Hissong were deep inside the sinks of the Roundstone Cave in Kentucky when the sky turned against them. A thunderstorm brewed miles away, unseen and unheard from inside the cave, but its effect was devastating. Water gushed in, fast and merciless. The scouts had one chance to reach a higher chamber. Hissong got them there, using hand lines and calm leadership to keep panic from spreading. Then he made a gut-wrenching decision. He would go back down and out, alone, to get help. Slipping and crawling through narrow, flooding passages, Jack emerged after hours of clawing his way out. Emergency crews followed him back inside. Every scout was rescued. Jack's courage, his ability to balance fear with reason, saved lives. The Boy in the Well, Rayan Oram, 2022. Sometimes the smallest cracks can lead to the biggest heartbreaks. In northern Morocco, 5-year-old Rayan Oram was playing near a dry well when he slipped and fell over 100 feet into its darkness. The shaft was so narrow not even adults could slide down to help. The world watched as a massive 4-day rescue operation began. Crews dug an adjacent tunnel, lowered cameras, and even pumped in oxygen. Rayan's face appeared on grainy footage. Alone, scared, yet alive. Hope surged, but as they reached him, silence fell. Rayan had died before they could pull him out. His story broke the internet. Millions mourned a boy they'd never met. The tragedy exposed the dangers of unguarded wells and the painful limits of even our most high-tech rescues. The Unmovable Rock, Crooked Swamp Cave, 1982. It began with a game of hide-and-seek. Don Wellner, a 31-year-old scoutmaster, crawled into a narrow passage of Crooked Swamp Cave in New Jersey. He wanted to give his scouts a challenge. He didn't expect the crevice to get tighter, or for the walls to shift just enough to trap him like a cork in a bottle. For 3 straight days, teams tried everything: pulling, propping, even attempting to lube the rocks with soap and water. But Don was wedged in too tightly. As hours dragged into days, hypothermia crept in. Eventually, his heart stopped. Only by removing massive chunks of limestone with quarry tools were workers finally able to recover his body. His death served as a painful reminder. Caves do not play games, even if explorers do. His scouts, many still in their teens, waited outside the cave with silent hope, refusing to leave until they heard news, any news. What began as a fun memory turned into trauma that would stay with them for life. Rescuers, hardened by experience, said it was one of the most emotionally draining recoveries they'd ever worked. The cave, shallow by some standards, gained a new reputation, one of silent danger, hidden in plain sight. After the tragedy, Crooked Swamp Cave saw a drop in visitors, and signs were later posted warning about its unstable passages. Don's legacy, though marked by tragedy, also brought renewed focus on safety procedures in scouting and outdoor activities across the region. Sometimes, it's not the depth of a cave, but the choices inside it that decide how a story ends. Broken Back, Burning Rope, Lost Cave, 1980. Butch Hendrick was experienced, skilled, and passionate about cave diving. He and his partner Charles Bruce were exploring New Mexico's Lost Cave when Butch attempted to descend a 30-foot drop without the right gear, just a rope in his hands. Halfway down, disaster struck. The rope burned through his palms. He lost grip, slammed into the cave floor, injured, barely conscious, unable to climb. Charles knew time was short. In a move equal parts daring and insane, he fashioned a harness from old caving rope, clipped in, and rappelled down to help. With Butch barely able to speak, Charles carried him out inch by inch, ascending with his injured friend clinging to his back. Butch lived, and later told the story not as a tale of his own mistake, but of his friend's raw courage. Guna Cave's sole survivor, Tamil Nadu, 2006. Locals called it the Cave of Death. In Tamil Nadu, India, the Guna Cave had already claimed 13 lives. Locals believed it was cursed. Some thought it was bottomless. But for 19-year-old Subhash Chandran and his best friend Siju David, curiosity won. Subhash slipped and fell nearly 80 feet down into its dark, echoing heart. Officials arrived but refused to descend. Too dangerous, too unknown. Siju couldn't wait. Armed with nothing but a makeshift rope and sheer loyalty, he tied himself off and went down. He found Subhash alive, clinging to a ledge. That moment rewrote the cave's legacy. Subhash became the only known survivor of Guna Cave, and Siju became a national hero. News of the daring rescue spread quickly, sparking conversations across India about youth, bravery, and the power of friendship. For days, Siju was celebrated in local newspapers and television interviews, but he stayed humble, insisting he just did what anyone would. Officials later sealed parts of the cave permanently, declaring it too dangerous for tourism or exploration. Even now, the story is shared among trekkers and adventurers who pass by the site, treating it with a quiet reverence. The Guna Cave wasn't just a setting for danger, it became a place of miraculous survival against impossible odds. Today, it stands both feared and respected, known as much for the courage it revealed as for the lives it once claimed. One cave, two deaths. Stevens Gap Cave, 2019. Some caves give warnings, others don't. In April 2019, Juan Gerardo Cruz fell from the entrance shaft of Stevens Gap Cave in Alabama. It was steep, dangerous, and unforgiving. Just 8 months later, on December 1st, U.S. Army combat medic Philip Whitehead Jr. was exploring the same cave. Known for its sheer drops and tight passages, Stevens Gap required precise gear and flawless technique. Something went wrong. Philip fell nearly 100 feet. By the time rescue teams arrived, there was nothing they could do. His death marked the second fatality in that cave in the same year. Stevens Gap is still open, but its reputation now echoes with caution. Despite these tragedies, thrill seekers continue to visit the site, drawn by its breathtaking vertical drops and hidden underground waterfalls. The cave is part of the Jackson County Cave System, one of the most complex in the southeastern United States. Local rescue teams have since increased training, knowing how unforgiving these vertical caves can be. Philip's background as a medic added an extra layer of heartbreak. Someone trained to save lives lost his own in minutes. Some say better signage and access restrictions might prevent future losses, but nothing replaces the need for solid preparation. As beautiful as Stevens Gap is, it serves as a stark warning. Even the most experienced are not immune to mistakes. The mountain won't move for anyone, and neither will the rock beneath your feet. Caves don't forgive carelessness, they magnify it. They're beautiful, yes. They're ancient, but they're also indifferent. Whether it's a flooded tunnel in Kentucky or a dry well in Morocco, every story here began with adventure and ended in survival, rescue, or tragedy. Each name, each incident is a reminder. Preparation matters. Respect matters. Nature always has the final word. These aren't just stories. These are lessons carved in stone. From the youngest victim to the bravest rescuer, their experiences deserve to be remembered. If stories like these move you, shock you, or make you think twice about adventure, don't forget to support our work. Subscribe for more real-world explorations, survival stories, and untold truths from the hidden edges of the earth.